Welcome to another episode of Onethird podcast. This is episode 39. You sleep for 1/3 of your life. You work for 1/3 of your life. What are you going to do with the rest?
All right, so today on episode 39, we're going to talk about the need for attention. I definitely feel the need for attention, whether it be from a female or from friends or from a father figure, mother figure, anything like that. There's multiple times where I need attention, and it's hard to have a healthy balance with that. I don't necessarily think that I'm looking for it all the time, but as the last 2 weeks have went by and I've kind of tried to dig at this topic a little bit, I've realized how much I actually do need attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to ask you guys a little bit about insecurities, because I feel like they kind of bounce off each other a little bit. Definitely.
Okay.
So in your guys' life, what do you think, before we talk about insecurities, do you guys feel like you need attention? And I know you do, but what kind of attention do you crave?
Good question.
Do you want to start this, Bashar?
I can start.
Okay.
I honestly don't even know what mine is, if I'm being honest.
Nah, that's a tough one, actually.
Mm-hmm. Need for
Trying to think.
attention.
It's very like a big, it's like a big thing, because you can have need for attention for a lot of things, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like your own little things, even for yourself or for others.
Yeah, I'd say there's four main things. There's mental attention, physical attention, sexual attention, and emotional attention. That's would be the four main forms of attention that I could think of at the moment. And it's just at different parts in your life, you need different parts of those attentions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in each one of those, there's a million different ways to get that.
That's what I mean.
You know what I mean? So it's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what is that word? Broad?
Yeah,
Very
broad. Mm-hmm.
100%.
But for yourself, Bashar, do you think that you crave attention? Do you find yourself, whenever you're not getting enough attention, do you go out and search for that?
Nah, I'm not that type, actually. I'm more of I don't need attention, but it's not I don't even know how to explain it, because I don't even know what kind of attention I would want. You know what I mean? Maybe yeah, maybe like you said, it would be cool to when you get female or attention from a female or your friends or something, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool, it's there for you, you know what I mean?
The funniest part is that you said female first. I was gonna say that. I was gonna be Bashar, he definitely likes that female attention,
but
son.
I haven't even laying with no female in a minute, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
in your past, at least.
Yeah, the need has got less.
Mm-hmm.
I don't crave it that much.
Dude.
I would say my need for attention right now, that has my full that I need, it would probably be for the stream.
Which is almost for yourself.
Try to get as much attention to that stream as possible.
So that's
what I would want.
Physical attention.
Yeah, physical. You know what I mean?
So we're not saying physical in the sexual manner. We're saying physical in the interactions between humans. I guess that would be the.
I don't have any mental attention. Maybe I do that I don't know
It's a
about.
little bit emotional and mental.
I'd say emotional
I'd say
too.
a tad emotional, but more physical.
But at the same time, it's not too physical, because all those streamers, he doesn't know them. He doesn't touch them.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean,
it's all maybe.
What would you consider
mentally.
talking to people? Would you consider that a physical when you're talking to somebody, or would you consider that a mental?
I think in my eyes, I think of communication. I would personally put that, I think, in emotional.
So you would say communication is an emotional?
Yeah. I feel that would affect how my emotions feel. If I like you said, sorry to interrupt, but if the stream is popping, I'm probably going to feel a bit happier.
Exactly. More entertainment. You know what I mean? You want them to keep them entertained. I feel that's where I get my attention from. I like that. That's where I crave that.
See, I don't know.
Say?
In my head, I would think that's more physical, in my opinion. But
that's fine.
I could
that's
see
okay.
If you're emotionally invested in that, I could see how it would be a little bit emotional attention at the same time, because emotionally you want to make them happy.
Yeah.
So that, in that sense, it's
but the more that you
attention.
blow up, the more that it's gonna go less again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not gonna care as much. Yeah. You're gonna talk. It's good, because there's a lot of streamers. I don't know. I always give the examples of those. But for Nick, he's a big streamer. He averages 40K, right? He always has a moment in a stream. He talks to the chat strictly for an hour before he even plays, because when he plays video games, he's so focused, he doesn't talk to them. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he has an hour before the stream ends, and after he just gives them good feedback, tries to
relate
build
to
them up.
them.
Yeah, relate and make them happy. You know what I mean?
And in that sense, I would call that's a physical attention.
Yeah.
Because he's physically taking time
To
to make
them.
sure
They're-
that he's meeting their need as an audience.
Yeah.
And their need is certain individuals, right? Because obviously everybody has their certain individuals that they'll put above other people.
Yeah.
But in a general sense, he does that for his whole audience.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, he's filling their needs.
Yeah, and he has a list because a lot of them, he doesn't really know how their life is, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of them. So he has like a list. He always goes and gives them like points or whatever, like good diet, good like healthy lifestyle, all this stuff. He says like try it. You know what I mean? Like go to the gym, whatever the case is, just to see. It's not gonna make you like all of a sudden snap, boom, you're a better person. You know, it's not gonna make you happier, but it could help. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like it could help you. So I feel like that's why I like that, and I feel like that's where I would get my like need for attention.
I
Okay,
understand.
and would you
that.
say that's like your only kind of need for attention? Like, do you feel the need for attention from your family,
No,
for instance?
no.
So, like, if your family stopped talking to you, would you still be happy? If they just
Obviously,
if they all of a sudden just stopped talking
obviously,
to
I
you,
wouldn't be happy.
well, then
But,
you
like,
do.
I don't
then,
even-
well, then
I
you do
do-
need.
I do need, but like, I don't even really talk to them that much right now.
But it's like the simple things. Like, you get up in the morning, your mom says good morning.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like the little subtle.
you're obviously gonna miss that.
Exactly.
You're
That.
gonna
then
miss
you,
that.
You need that some form of attention from that side, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So there's many different subtle attentions that we might not think of as attention.
As like right now. Yeah,
like we might
Yeah,
not
yeah.
think of that certain instance as attention. Like, say your loved one has a piece of hair in their face and you swipe their hair out of their face or whatever it
Yeah,
may be.
yeah.
That's a subtle little
You're
form
just
of
there.
attention.
I know what you're saying.
You know?
100%.
yeah, I do.
What about you?
Well, for me, I would say that obviously I get attention, but I don't seek attention. I actually avoid attention.
I know. I don't really
Yeah.
like
To the
attention either. From
Yeah,
For
I
the
don't like
most
you.
part, I've always avoided attention because with attention I feel like with anything in life, if you become addicted to it and it leaves your life, it creates a hole.
Yeah.
So a lot of people become addicted to attention from whether it be a certain person or whether it be attention as a whole. And once that person or that thing in their life is gone, they cave. They get depressed. Their emotions are out
Yeah.
of whack because they
100%.
depended on that
Yeah,
attention.
but that's not good. That's too much.
Well, in a way, like let's use your parents again, for instance. If your parents died, you would be very distraught.
But anybody would.
Not anybody.
Like not one. Like obviously, if you have love for them and you care for them, you're gonna be sad
You're
1,000%.
gonna be sad, but sad and distraught are two different things.
What is distraught?
Distraught is like very depressed to the point where like
There's people like
your
that.
regular life is been disrupted. Like you can no longer
probably-
be a normal human
It
at that
probably
point.
will for a bit.
Yeah,
That's a hard example just because it's so extreme.
it is
Yeah.
extreme, but like that's just what I'm trying to
Because
say. Like,
I'll grieve for lots of people when they pass away.
and the
Me
same
too.
thing for like a girlfriend. Say your girlfriend dumps you. For a lot of people, that's like a major emotional change in their life.
because you're emotionally attached.
Yeah, exactly. But
No, a
it's
lot of people do
because
that.
a lot of that has to do with the attention that they gave you. Whether it
100%.
be, like you said, emotional, or whether it be sexual or the physical form, whatever one.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be the attention that makes you stay.
Well, I don't know.
See, that's true.
I kind of
You know what I mean?
disagree.
Really?
I feel like without attention, no relationship lasts. You need attention in some form
No, I
from that
agree.
relationship to keep you there.
I think
Yeah.
you definitely
Like
need
for
attention, but you
us-
can't be dependent on it.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't be dependent on it.
You're
like
right,
you were
but
saying.
that's a lot of people don't think that way. A lot of people don't realize that they have to kind of detach a certain bit from attention to have a healthy balance with
Like
it.
they still like I use Tyson and Brianna for example. They still do their own thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're not fucking all the time.
Glued together.
Yeah, like you do your thing, she does her thing when you guys are home. Obviously, he gives her attention when she's home. You know what I mean? She's home now. He greets her or whatever.
But in saying that, you definitely do text throughout the entire day.
Definitely.
You are giving phone calls to each other. You're communicating some way throughout the whole day.
But you have to.
Mhm.
But that you don't have. That's attention.
It is attention, but it's not
upkeep,
like
and it's normal in a relationship. But a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people with their significant others aren't communicating the whole day. Aren't saying "I love you" constantly. They aren't reassuring their partner. They aren't
Definitely.
doing those little forms of attention. And that's why relationships tend to break up in the long term.
No, I agree.
I know what you're saying. I think that when it comes to that aspect, I feel like, just speaking for myself, I don't know. Like, I could definitely do without those texts. Don't get me wrong. But when you get a text like that, the thing that really makes me feel like, I guess, good about those kind of communications, or hey, you did this well, or thank you for doing the laundry, or send, you know what I mean? Me and Brianna always say, like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Like, I'll send her a text in the middle of the day. Hey, I'm thinking about you. You know what I mean? Have a good rest of your day. Or like that. I think that's me trying to, like, it's hard to say, feel her need for attention, but just show her that I'm, like, thinking about her. You know what I mean?
And that's like the subtleness. It's like you're on my mind.
For sure. And like you were saying, if people become super dependent on that, if I don't send it for a day, then it's going to be like, hey, what's wrong? You didn't send me a text.
Exactly.
I feel like me and Brianna were able to create a healthy relationship because some days when we're super busy, I'm not going to be like, hey, why didn't you text me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I just cause so much, like, I don't know. It gets annoying.
It
you know
does.
what I mean?
Like you were saying. Sorry, go ahead.
And that brings me to, like, I guess my view on attention. I don't like attention at all. Obviously, if I get attention, there is that little happiness, the joy. Obviously, everybody gets happy.
That's a natural
from getting
feeling.
attention,
like,
right?
I don't think that you can even control that.
Yeah, you're a human. Humans want attention. When it comes down to it, we're social beings. We're social individuals.
Yeah, definitely.
But in saying that, I've definitely detached from a lot of the emotional connections that have to do with attention. So, like, I don't emotionally depend on attention to keep me happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a relationship that I've built over many, many years of not getting attention. So obviously I've seen both sides of the spectrum. I've had no attention and I've had lots of attention.
Yep.
And when I've had lots of attention usually comes with a lot more problems, a lot more drama. When you have less attention, you can be yourself more, I feel. Because less eyes are on you, less
But if the ball
opinions
gets
on
rolling
you.
on this, there's going to be a lot of attention on us.
There will be a lot of attention, but don't get me wrong. I'm not going to let this affect my personal life.
No, but
This
there's
is
going
a
to be a lot of
business
attention.
life. Yeah, but you will only see me on this podcast. It's not like
no,
I'm
people
gonna.
can see you anywhere.
No.
What do you mean no? You're going to be hibernating?
Well,
what do you mean no?
I don't go out. It's
What?
not. It's not like I go out on like. I don't go to the bar. I don't go to clubs. Like nobody would really be able to see me outside of this podcast. I wouldn't.
Bro.
I wouldn't hype up my
If
Instagram.
this becomes
I
very
wouldn't be on
successful,
Snapchat.
yes, you
I wouldn't be
are.
on Twitter.
You
I
see?
wouldn't be on any of those. I'm telling you, Bashar, I would not be on any of those social medias because I don't want that attention.
It doesn't have to be you on social media. People will see you. If this becomes very successful, people will see you.
No, they won't. I'm telling you.
Bro.
I will be a
gonna definitely run into
in
it.
every single way other than this podcast. I will be
guy
a
thinks he's a ghost.
proverbial ghost. I was literally just
no,
about to
no.
say that.
They're gonna see you at the gym. They're gonna see you
They're
once
gonna
in a
see
while.
you play places,
If
bro.
this becomes big, no, you won't. I'll have my own gym. You won't see me at the gym.
That's like a long.
You won't
time.
see
what do
me
you-
in
what
my
do you-
everyday life.
So what is this?
What?
What do you think you're gonna be? Detective?
What do you mean, a detective?
Like
This is a business.
No,
Bro,
but
it
okay,
is-
to circle back. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying when it comes to the not needing attention. But it definitely makes sense. But like you were saying, I feel like you literally don't have any need for attention, not even one bit.
If his stream goes big,
Not
there's gonna be a lot of
necessarily a need.
attention.
But come
I
on,
don't
bro. You
emotionally-
can't say you don't have an attention. I feel like if anybody says that, they're lying.
I don't have an
Who's
emotional
lying?
need for attention, but obviously I like attention, but I'm happy with or without it.
I
You know,
understand.
like if I don't get attention, it's not hurting my mental.
No.
I'm still going to be as happy without attention as I would be with attention. And the more attention I get, the less happy I'll get.
No, I understand.
So attention would negatively affect my happiness.
I understand what you're saying. I don't know if I can 100% relate because I don't know if I'm not sure if I need attention or not, to be honest. You know what I mean? There was a long stint in my life during junior high and high school. Like junior high, we went to a small school, a bunch of Northside kids. Everybody knew everybody, right? It
Yeah.
was cool. I'm not going to say I was the popular kid, but I knew everybody.
We were.
in
We
yeah.
were we'll put it up. We were the top echelon of the school.
In
We
junior
were-
high,
we
1,000%.
were the top
Yeah.
1% of the
we
school.
all knew everybody, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody
Yeah.
all knew us.
Yeah.
High school is a little bit
Exactly.
More people,
So that's what I was gonna
less,
say.
because we went to a different school.
That's what I was going to say. So after going to our small junior high, we went into this big high school, and I was still feeling that need for attention from everybody. I wanted to know everybody. I wanted
Me too.
everybody to know me. I wanted all the girls to like me, all that kind of stuff. So I was chasing the females. My ego was chasing like I'm the biggest
male
baddest mug
attraction,
in here.
male attention, kind of
100%.
dominant attention.
Kind of wanted to be almost even a little bit intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I was definitely, and I don't think at the time I didn't know that. I just thought like, this is weird. Everybody hates me, but I don't know nobody. Nobody knows me. You know what I mean? That was my outlook on everything. But looking back on it, that was my need for attention. Like in the last little bit after high school, I was really able to focus on myself, specifically like the last 2 years. And I've kind of, like you said, gotten rid of those need for attentions. Like, don't get me wrong.
Kind of cut the strings a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I love attention from mother, father, all that kind of stuff. Friends, Brianna. You know what I mean? Even out and about when we're playing basketball or boxing, and it's like, hey, good shot. Like I like that attention. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, thank you. Like that makes me kind of feel good.
But that's not like a lot. It's like the little things.
For sure. And before, when I would get that attention, I think I would let it fill my ego. But now I like let that attention sit, and I kind of like register it. Like, why did I like that comment? You know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I'm like, why did that comment really affect me how it did? Like a guy. That's why I say I understand a lot and I appreciate it. Like, instead of saying thank you or something like that, because I don't know who it was or something, but when I was having a conversation with the person and they said, oh, I understand, that caught my attention. And I was like, oh, he understood me. You know what I mean? Like, it just sounds so stupid and simple, but
so then do you
like
guys think then to where the attention could be bad, like let's say words, can hurt you guys. You know what I'm saying?
So I have one thing to say to that. Words can only hurt you if you put meaning to words. If you don't put any meaning to any specific word, words cannot hurt you.
What do you mean put meaning?
I'll give you an instance that's a little bit easier to understand. So if somebody swears at you in a language that you don't understand, it won't hurt you. If they say 100 rude, disgusting, despicable things about you, you're not, because there's no meaning to those words though.
Yeah.
You don't know the word. So if you relate it to English, you know the word, but if you take the meaning out of the word, somebody calls you a fucking bitch. If you really, like, the word bitch has a lot of meaning to you, it'll hurt your feelings. It'll hurt your ego. You're like, nah, I'm not a bitch. What are you talking about? What are you saying?
Yeah,
but if you have no meaning to that word, you can be like, okay, whatever.
So do you let it affect you?
No. Words can't affect me. Not in my life.
That's straight cap, because we've gone in your head a lot of times.
No, you trust me. You've never.
We're not even gonna get into it.
You've annoyed me, but I'll say that nobody has ever actually pissed me off.
Yes, we have.
No, you've never seen me mad.
Bro,
I will tell you right now.
It could be for sports.
No, but that's not really.
You off.
That's pride. That's not mad. I'm not mad. There's pride in the way. There's a little bit of ego in the way, but there's no anger.
But when that pride gets hurt, you're mad.
No, there's no anger.
You tell me you never been mad when we played ball.
Not truly angry, bro.
Or when we've boxed.
Not, and especially not boxing. I dropped my ego boxing after our basement scraps, bro. After that, I learned that you cannot have ego in boxing.
What do you think, Tyson?
You can't.
Do words hurt you? You think?
Depending
like
on
bad words, good words.
Yeah, depending on who, for sure. Because there's people who hold weight in my life.
Exactly.
And what they say really affects me. Definitely.
Yep. And that's the main
I
thing
take
with
in consideration of what certain people in my life say, for sure. Most definitely. And that's what I feel like I've developed a really good skill at. And I don't know who taught me that. I feel like it may have been my dad. It may have even just been me watching, even friends as well. You guys are pretty good at this, but not letting outliers affect you. You know what I mean? So like the random person in a road rage incident. I'm not going to get into no road rage incident because my ego is not going to step up then. But if my dad says, Tice, that's not cool, I'm disappointed in you, that's going to like weigh on me.
Because those words have meaning.
Exactly. But if a guy out in public or even at work says, hey, you did a horrible job, and be like,
I don't give a frick.
Yeah, man.
You know
I stand by the saying, man, sticks and stones, they break your bones. But words can't hurt you if you don't let them, man.
It's true. But with that being said, it's a tough skill to master.
It's not easy. Because a lot of people break when you say rude things to them.
100%. And I understand that too, though. I understand that because maybe during their life, their role models were really affected by words. You know what I'm saying? Like same with guys at work, or any time out in public, or if a guy does honk at me, if it just turned green for 3 seconds, I'm like, man, clearly somebody didn't teach him to be patient in his life. So I can't blame him. You know what I'm trying to say? It sounds a little weird, but I've come to a little bit like more at peace with that. Like, and that kind of themselves.
That kind of wraps us up to the next part of this conversation. I guess. So we started talking about our need for attention. and we started talking about like how that converts into like what forms of attention we need and right. But let's more talk about why those forms of attention are important to us. Like, where in your life do you think that certain forms of attention were like adopted? I guess because obviously it starts with your parents. Your parents are the main people that decide what form of attention you like. And so for many people, some of their parents, they gave them too much attention. And so they need attention now. They want it and they crave it because their parents never really let them be alone. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a dog. If you give a dog way too much attention, then you leave it in the house all day, it's going to be barking up a storm. It's going to say, hey, I need this attention. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, but the parents can only do so much until the kid starts growing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can't, I feel like, for example, I'll use my brother. As soon as he started getting in junior high, he started doing his, I feel like it's who you hang out with also. Your parents can instill stuff into you and make you, grow you up, make you have the need for attention or whatnot. But I think it's also your own self, you know what I mean? You look at yourself too, you know what I mean? You look at different point of views and different routes and the people that you hang out with. Does that make sense or not?
Yeah, obviously.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I would say the base instincts, obviously when you're born, you're
it's for sure 1000% your family,
you know
your
what I'm saying?
parents.
When you're born, you're a blank slate.
Yeah.
So whatever your parents choose to instill in you, whether it be a lack of attention, and that might make you want attention more, or too much attention, and now you need to keep up that attention spiral, otherwise your emotions depend on it. Obviously, there's certain ways that we are affected by the things that happen to us and by the way our parents teach us. But like you said, there is something to be said about the different point of views that we can take.
Definitely. I feel like don't get me wrong. I think that those are heavily influenced by our parents and stuff, but
they can only do so much, I feel.
And do you think that some of it is your natural? Like some people are just naturally a follower. Some people are naturally a leader. That's a thing.
That's a good question.
There's fucking built like that, bro.
Yeah.
There's fucking leaders.
There's cats that are gonna do their own thing regardless of
what people say. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that lots of that is their parents. Don't get me wrong. And how the attention was shown or not shown and all that kinds of stuff. But it's at some point, is it natural?
I'll say this. You can build a leader, but it's a lot tougher than being naturally born a stubborn person. Because I do believe that there are some people who are naturally born to not follow the grain. Their brains developed in the younger stages, and even taking parents out of the equation, brains develop in certain ways. Certain parts of the brain are bigger and or smaller, and that does affect the way that you perceive things and the way that you agree with things. Like me, I'm not an agreeable person. And that doesn't necessarily have to do with how I grew up. Obviously, some of it does, but a lot of it is just I'm not an agreeable person. At the end of the day, I don't like to agree with people.
That's a characteristic.
Yeah, it's just and I do feel like that, but in saying that, I feel like majority of people are followers. Because humans are built to follow.
It's easy to follow.
Yeah. Humans are built to take the path of least resistance. And following is the path of least resistance.
I agree with what you're saying when it comes to the people who were born to go against the grain. Because I personally think that I can only speak for myself because I'm not going to speak for you guys. But when I was little, don't get me wrong, my dad was showing me the different routes you can take, kind of. You know what I mean? Hey, you can chase that or you can chase this. But a lot of that was my own mind as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got to see clearly
what it's like.
What kind of lifestyle would I prefer? I know it sounds materialistic. What kind of house would I rather live in? What kind of car would I rather drive? You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. So I always kind of, I guess, just chase dreams. I think that I've always had outlandish dreams, and I feel I don't know. I'm kind of trying to relate this to attention because I feel was that maybe because
you've seen so much, or you've seen other people's how they were living?
I honestly don't know, and I've been trying to figure this out for the last a couple of weeks so I could talk about it on the pod, but I actually have no idea. Yeah. I think that my dreams are supported, but I don't know. I feel I've seen people, not too many people follow their dreams.
Yeah.
I haven't seen too many people do that. So I think that the attention for me to follow my damn dream and have it be crazy, I'm going to own 3,000 acres in a damn compound and be you know what I mean?
So in a sense, you would say that some of your need for attention is driven by the need for people to doubt you and for
Yeah.
you to live up to your expectations and make them wrong.
100%. I think that, like, and before, I like what you said at the very end there. Before, I think my main focus was to prove people wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So then anytime something would say I can't do it, my mind would strictly focus on that task.
Mm-hmm.
But now when people kind of talk smack about our goals, or when I tell people, oh, I want to get into this or that or real estate or a podcast, you're like, oh, psh. You kind of look at me stupid
Mm-hmm.
type stuff, because that happens all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably for you
Fuels
guys
you
as
up
well.
more.
Sorry?
Fuels you up more.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just kind of adds. And it's like, all right, that
Yeah.
kind of gives me more motivation because you're not following your dreams. So that gives me one more person to follow mine forward.
And so in saying that, do you think that that need to be stubborn could kind of relate to the fact that your mom was very strict and always told you that you can't do a lot of things? Because I feel like that can also play a factor. Like if you have parents that are always telling you no, parents that are always kind of putting down your point of view, it just makes you kind of crave that point of view more. You know what I'm saying?
That's tough to say.
Definitely makes you sneakier. Tell you that.
That's
You're
tough
very
to
strict.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. But I don't know. I feel like that one's tough.
Because I feel like at the end of the day, a lot of, I don't know why, but a lot of people who are more fortunate in life seem to have less need to prove people wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So like people that were always
for
given
themselves.
things, people that were always kind of put up on that silver spoon, for lack of a better word, they got the silver spoon in them. They don't necessarily have that need to fulfill high dreams. They kind of, and you see it with a lot of the times, like you'll see the parent who is very, very successful, hyper successful, and the kid isn't. The kid has no want or no need to be successful.
He doesn't need it.
Exactly. But there's that thing where it's like, okay, so why doesn't he need it? It's because his parents always said yes. Because his parents always said, okay, you can do that. And in some way, that helps a child. But in other ways, I feel like you need some resistance. You need somebody telling you no. For a certain portion of your life, you need to be told no.
Like we've all gotten
100%.
bodied before
Mhm.
by our parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a healthy thing. Your parents,
Gotten bodied.
they need to
They
have
say
a
no.
little
gonna
bit
say.
of dominance.
And see,
Yeah.
that's why I was kind of relating it for, because I don't think that necessarily. I honestly don't think the strictness affected me in a negative way. I think it affected me in a positive way,
Me too.
Okay, that's fair.
because it was, like you said, it was pretty much a drill sergeant way of living.
Mhm.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
It was very snap of
Went
the
like
fingers.
that.
When I say this, ain't no questions,
Yeah.
no matter what. But I feel like that taught me respect. I don't know. It's tough to say. I don't think it affected me in a negative way. I feel like it made me more accepting for maybe.
But
that
you
type
guys
of
not remember when I
person.
had the car, bro? I had to come home at like 9 p.m. because my parents telling me to come home.
Oh,
I'm gonna hang out with you
listen.
guys.
and see, you had respect though.
I,
when you
what
went
do you want
and
me to
did it.
do?
But
Exactly.
also,
that
Yeah.
taught you to have respect.
That's what
though.
I'm saying. I'm mid podcast. They say I need the car. Like, what am I gonna do?
I-
no,
You
no,
know what,
no.
hold on. You know
Bro.
what's funny as hell? I literally just watched that podcast like 2 weeks ago. Man. We said, "Yo, what the fucking bank, man? Why did you gotta go to the bank?" You remember that?
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Can we just say this,
I do
though?
remember that, bro.
Bashar, man, you have a terrible habit of not planning things forward.
But like, yo,
You don't tell your parents.
Yo.
You don't tell them. What, you just
what
leave.
am-
You just leave
you
with
don't
the car.
you don't tell them either. You don't tell your parents shit either. What do you mean?
I don't need to though.
I don't need to either.
Well,
but they just
obviously not that day. You
they don't,
did.
bro. It don't matter what I tell them. They're gonna want it regardless of where it is. You know
Hold
what I'm
up.
saying?
It was bad timing.
Tangent. So you think if you had told them that you were using the car for that amount of time,
They
it
would-
wouldn't have changed anything?
No.
They wouldn't have
still
planned
take it?
something earlier.
They-
If you had told them a couple days ahead of time,
It should have
that,
been
hey,
me planning with you guys to at a different time because we need to go to the bank at this time.
But if you had,
Do you know what I'm
told-
saying?
But if you had
Yeah, I know
told them
what you're saying.
earlier, it would have changed things, would it not?
I don't think so because if the bank appointment was at that time, I didn't know that they had a bank appointment at that
My
time.
point.
So it should have been with you guys telling you guys at that time.
But that's actually my point. You didn't know because there was no planning.
yeah, I didn't know.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
it's a little
But
bit of
I-
both.
I think at the same time though, if you were to be like, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast at 1:00 on Friday," you go outside at 1:00 on Friday, your car is still gonna be gone.
That's what I'm
Maybe.
saying.
You know what? Actually, maybe. Maybe. You know what? Maybe.
No, they're not gonna care,
Maybe,
bro.
okay, maybe.
Like,
Let's say there might be some slim chance that doesn't happen.
bro, it was just bad time. But that is funny that you watched that.
It's very funny. But just to relate it back to the whole need for attention thing and the strictness, I think that it's super tough to say. I think that maybe that did kind of put me to go against the grain a little bit more because, like you were saying, I was very strict all the time. But at the same time, it showed me, like, I guess respect for my elders or, like, the power.
Respect for power or authority, I guess.
Yeah, respect for authority. That's a good way to put it. I was trying to figure out a way because, like, a manager or a boss or something, I'm always going to have respect. But if you guys are down, I think that we talked about that a little bit. But do you guys want to get into insecurities?
Yeah, we can get into that.
All right, so let's just nail it right on the head right here, man. What do you guys think? Maybe not now, but in the past, what was something that you were extremely insecure about? I'm going to do some thinking because I actually, like, I know a couple, but I want to, like, really try and think.
I know, like, the main few things.
Okay. And before you say what they are, like, is it, like, a physical thing? Is it an emotional thing? How you, present yourself?
So, yeah, I would say that, like, definitely one of them was physical. One of them was emotional. But also a couple of them were, like, just, like, a combination of a whole bunch of different insecurities. Per se, like, I guess, well, if I'm gonna, let me just get into it. So the first insecurity I had when I was a child was I was always malnourished, so I was always smaller than everybody else. So that insecurity led me to be hyperactive in every single sport, and also led to me, like, getting into the gym more consistently to kind of combat that insecurity. So, like, the more I learned about my own body, the more I built my own body, the less it mattered if I was smaller than everybody or skinnier than everybody. Because in many ways, I started to understand my abilities compared to everybody. And the only way that it, like, if somebody said that I was weaker than them, I would know whether or not I'm weaker than them. And if I was weaker than them, respect to you, I am. You deserve that because you put more time in.
Yeah, I understand.
And so in that way, I learned to respect it. But just like a funny story, this is actually like the main reason I started working out. And it's funny, but it's a little bit, you know, old school grandparents making fucking rude comments, right? But at the end of the day, what are you gonna do, right? So I'm on the trip. So just for some context for the audience, my brother has a family who is a little bit more wealthy, so they can do a little bit more extravagant things. So they took me and my brother on a camping on like an RV trip across Canada and the U.S. And with us came their grandparents. So
I didn't know that they came.
Yeah, me either.
My brother's dad's grandparents. They live in Australia. So that was the main motive. They came from Australia, and we went on an RV trip for 7 weeks. So there's 6 of us crammed in an RV. So obviously we're gonna, you know, shoot the shit a lot. We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of different things because that's what you do when you're stuck in a little 100 cubic square foot RV, right?
Yeah.
But the whole time, because I was so skinny, they always used to call me chicken wings.
Really?
Yeah, the whole time, chicken wings. And so I heard that consistently for 7 weeks straight.
Jackson's blood pressure was just going up, bro.
And on top of that,
you calling me a
yeah. A little bit. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit. And on top of that, the food that we were eating so much bad, unhealthy food at a high rate because obviously it's vacation, it's happy hour every day at 5. You know what I'm saying? We're busting out all the snacks. So I started to grow man boobs. I'm not gonna lie, I started to grow little titties.
Really?
Yeah, bro. I could notice it, bro. I was skinny before that trip. I packed on some calories, and my boobs, they were little boobs.
I wish I'd had that. Never had that.
That along with the chicken wings. Honestly, bro, I got home from a trip. I took a look in the mirror, a long look in the mirror, and I said, listen, this needs to change. No more chicken wings. This ain't chicken wings no more. So like that was kind of me overcoming that insecurity mentally at least. And then what followed was obviously 7 years in the gym, and I'm not chicken wings anymore. So like there's no need for that security anymore, but that security did serve a purpose. At the end of the day, that's the main reason I got into the gym. Without that, I don't work out. You know?
I would hate being called small too, not gonna lie. But there is also a little short story also. There's this Nick, because remember how I was in the Navy SEAL, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this guy, I don't know where, he's like Italian, he said, right? He's probably like 115 pounds. He's in the Navy. He's trying out. They're at boot camp. They're doing the whole thing. And there was this one little thing. There's like probably like 15 guys carrying a 300-pound boat with their head only, like all this, right? And they're under the water carrying 300-pound boat. So each guy's like, what, 50 pounds each, probably on their head.
Mm-hmm.
And he was looking at this guy, 115 pounds. He said he just going through it, bro. He's probably the strongest guy there. 120 pounds, just fucking mowing through it, right?
Wow.
Mhm.
And we're like, he's just so surprised. He's like, how the fuck is this possible? Everyone else is built 200 pounds, all these Navy guys. And there's just one Italian guy, 120 pounds, just going through it all, doing it all. He passed eventually. Probably like 15, 30 guys quit the first 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we can all relate that to the thing, like you were saying, when you got called that, it like fired that fuel.
Fueled
but-
you.
Exactly. And you said after a certain amount of time, that security was filled because then you understood your own body and understood yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that little guy there, he understood himself.
understood.
Yeah, he already knew.
He
where
already
stood
knew
on
where
that
he was
totem pole.
going. Yeah.
He knew
I
on
was
that
like,
totem
damn.
pole. He said, "Hey, I'm probably way up here, so whatever you guys say, it don't matter at the end of the
Yep.
day."
And sometimes he'd say some guys would get really tired because this is all burning. So they would go under the water and let loose. So all the other guys had to carry them more weight. Oh, it was just so bad, bro.
Yep.
And some of them would just drown. I'm telling you, they can't carry it.
Wow.
And he was just in the back. He would look back, Nick. This guy is chilling, holding it up, bro.
Having
They're
a
like,
day,
how?
having a good
It's not
day.
about the
Yeah.
dog in the fight, man.
He's just
That's
dogging it.
fighting
It
the
just
dog.
shows you that. Like,
He definitely didn't have an insecurity about his body. That's
no,
for sure.
he did not care.
And I feel like to circle back to like some of our past like podcasts, that also is like a little trust in yourself.
100%.
You need a little trust in yourself to combat some of your
Most
insecurities.
definitely. If your
Mhm.
insecurities are strong and they're controlling you, I don't think that you have trust in yourself
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
because you're listening to those.
Mm-hmm.
But I can relate a little bit when it comes to the physical aspect of it, cause I was extremely skinny growing up as well, super skinny, skin and bones, and I was always a taller kid, so it didn't look too well. But my uncles and stuff, they were always bigger and jacked up, so they always make fun of me. But it didn't really bother me. I'm not gonna lie, I
No.
dealt with that. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
I got used to it eventually. At first, I definitely wasn't like, oh, I love being called meat stick. You know what I mean?
I'm
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But you know what I'm trying to say?
said meat steak, bro.
That's
But
going
yeah.
on a slideshow on your wedding. Fucking
They say
meat stick.
Meat stick.
I'm gonna just have
Jesus
pictures of like grade 7
I
soccer.
wonder how much time you've been called that.
Oh my god, string bean. But
That one is what I've heard that one multiple. I've never heard
Never
meat
heard
stick.
meat stick.
I've never heard meat stick before, okay? That's a funny one, okay? That's
it is funny.
if somebody called me a meat stick, I don't know if I'd take it bad. I would just start laughing.
Me too. I would just start laughing.
Like that's such an honestly, I can give some respect to an original diss.
Mhm.
If you're original in your like insult, I guess I can respect that.
You gotta learn how to take it.
Something new.
You gotta learn how to take it. And that was like you're saying, it was always in a joking matter, so I never really took it to heart too much. But in in junior high, I started talking to a couple females, and then I started comparing myself to the males that they were talking to. And I seen them, I'm like, hold on,
You are
got
a meat
really
stick.
Yeah, I am a meat stick. He's got a really big arm, and I
Mm.
don't. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
like, if for grade 7 and grade 8, I'm pretty sure I wore long sleeves every single day, all day, because I was way too
So,
scared to show my arm.
In a sense, I guess the meat stick did plant a tiny insecurity.
Definitely.
Whether you didn't realize it at the time or not,
Mhm.
when you started thinking about it, it put a little insecurity into the mix.
Definitely came to surface, and that's why in grade 7, 8 started hitting the gym and stuff. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
another one of my big insecurities, even still I go through it, not so much anymore because I'm kind of more confident in the way that I just carry myself, and I really want to treat everybody with respect. But just like after a conversation or an interaction with somebody, I'll be rethinking that over and over and over and over. Like, did I sound stupid? Did I make him feel heard? Him or her feel heard? Was I rude? Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would just for some reason do a bunch of overthinking about interactions, even podcasts when we first started. Did I let them talk? You know what I'm saying? Did I not talk enough? Like, it was weird. So I don't really know where that came from. I really don't. So I'm trying to figure that one out, and I'm getting way better at it. But
Like overthinking.
yeah,
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily overthinking, but it's the thought that you might not have been good enough.
that's what I mean. I really
that
have high expectations
interaction.
for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And I
Mhm.
think that, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I was always told my whole life by my dad too, like, hey, you can do anything. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, you can
Mhm.
do that. So I really, truly believe I could do anything. So if I'm not, I feel like if I'm not doing like crazy things, I'm kind of failing. But I'm also, Nipsey said this in his song, you're still great in spite of your mistakes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I can make mistakes. I can not hit the gym for a week or eat bad a little bit, but I'm still great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's a little bit one of my insecurities. I don't really know where it stems from, and I guess that could relate from the need of attention to, like we were saying before, I've seen a bunch of people not following their dreams, and yeah.
I would say my insecurity would be like being too protective
Over
Explain
who?
that.
in like in any way. Like I feel like when something gets hurt from me or like anyone near me or something that I care about, I feel like I get too. It's not even actually they get hurt. Even the littlest thing, like let's say someone said something bad to you guys, I would be like too protective. You know what I mean? Like I get mad in my
Like,
own
it bother
head.
you.
Yeah, it bothers me probably more than it bothers you guys.
Mhm.
And I don't know why. I feel like it's not more an insecurity, but I don't know if it's too bad. You know what I mean? What if it's too bad? What if I'm taking it too far? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if it's too much or maybe too less? Like, what if I didn't do anything in that situation?
Damn,
Do you know
that's
what I
a
mean?
good-ass question.
Like-
if something happens, like, and you didn't say something, I know what you're
Do
saying.
you know what I mean?
Did I just let it happen?
Did I let it happen, or did I get too What if I get too protective and it's like, oh, I look dumb in that situation? Do you know what I mean?
Where do you think it comes from?
I have no clue, bro.
I would say that,
Weird,
and
right?
for lack of like a better term, I would say that comes kind of from like your religion.
Yeah,
Like
maybe.
you are a religious person, and your religion, it's kind of you protect your family more.
Yeah.
Like your family's more sacred to you.
Yeah, it
You know
is.
what I'm
I try
saying?
not to. I'm a very open person. I like listening to other people's opinions, but I don't know. Sometimes I just get angry, too protective, bro. I don't know what it is. I don't like it though. That's the insecurity of mine though. I don't know how to freaking
That's a weird
explain
one. I
it.
wouldn't
It
even-
is. It
I
is
wouldn't even know
weird.
where that would really.
Because you're not necessarily the youngest in your family, but you're one of the younger ones.
Yeah,
And again, not to talk shit, you're a smaller dude.
I
You know
am.
what I'm saying? So like, I wonder if any of that stems as well.
I probably a little bit. I get mad.
Little
Okay,
man
but-
syndrome.
Yeah.
And let's talk about
Yeah, little
That's
man
a real thing,
syndrome.
though.
It
It's
is.
a real thing. And it's also like a big man syndrome thing for a guy that is, I'm not saying I'm a big guy, but maybe a guy even on the construction site at work, there's a guy that's a little bit taller and bigger than everybody and walks around like,
Yeah. Do you guys remember? You guys obviously remember Gage, right?
Mhm.
Freaking Bannerman.
Yeah.
I'm 50 pounds, bro. I'll be I'm just like, God damn, like, what do you do to this guy, bro? You can't do nothing, bro. You can't do nothing.
You can't, trust me.
He said you can.
Even if he gets stomped, you
Yeah.
can't, trust me.
Jackson
Yeah.
got the side of his head stepped on by a
Oh,
size
I've-
9 shoe.
But I've got him though. I've got him, man. Got him on the
Yeah.
ground. Fucking, we beat each other up.
100%.
Bro. And
That
then
was
you
a
would
funny
just
match.
watch, eh?
That's the battle. That's the battle between the little man and the big man
Yeah.
syndrome. That's the battle right
Bro,
there.
you don't stop going, though.
But
He was very
in
insecure.
that fight though, there was respect. Although we were being disrespectful to each other, when it came down to it, there was a little respect in the fact that we were both too stubborn to let the other
Accept
one
it.
win. Yeah.
He
Like
was
we both would die on that fucking hill.
Yeah.
definitely. He
You know what
was
I'm
a
saying?
And it shows it's
insecure
both
guy.
parties.
Mhm.
We're there. Don't matter if you're fucking 100 pounds or you're 200 pounds, bro. You're
exactly,
there.
Yep, exactly.
You are there.
Exactly. But let's relate all of this now, like the insecurities for the need for attention. So how do we think that relates? Because I was trying to put this into words and I really can't. So like, yeah, how do we think that relates? If you have an insecurity, do you think that's because you weren't given that as like a child, or maybe you were? Like that's what I mean. Like
I
you're
would say
saying.
that like a lot of insecurities come from the belittlement of an authority figure. Like, for instance, in my story, the authority figure, what might not necessarily been my grandparents, but it was an authority figure belittling me.
Definitely.
And that created an insecurity, whether it was a good insecurity, like in my case, or a bad insecurity, like in some people's cases, who they might, if they were called chicken wing, they might develop a bad habit with food and now they're fat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now they're obese.
And that's what I said. Words can hurt.
And-
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It can change you.
in some way we do give way a little bit when there is an authority figure saying that. Like it's a lot easier to rub it off when it's a peer, when it's somebody who's closer to your respect level. But it's a lot harder to just shrug it off when it's somebody who actually has gone through life and maybe has a little bit more respect surrounding them.
Definitely. Because if they were to say something positive, you'd probably listen to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like I feel like a lot of our insecurities are built by the authority figures in our lives who may not have done enough or may have been too protective. Like if your family never let you make mistakes, if your parents never let you,
That's bad, though.
it is bad. And that creates insecurities because now if your parents never let you make a mistake, now whenever you make a mistake, you think it's 10 times worse than it actually is.
Yeah, that's true.
So now you're scared to make mistakes. You're insecure because you don't want to do something wrong. So now you stop doing things because you're worrying about doing it wrong more than you are about doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd also say the losses feel better than the wins
To some people.
to a certain extent.
But that's if you learned to lose.
That's what I'm saying.
So like me in sports, I was never, I won golds here and there, but I was never at the top of any sport other than when I coached. So I learned to lose from a very young age. I learned to go, I'm on that pitch, win or lose.
I remember being on shit teams too, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're getting stomped out 5-0, 10 games in a row. I'm still there having fun.
You're still playing.
Yeah, I'm still playing.
The parents are just
I feel like it's also...
Run.
Run.
Good job. Good job.
Hey, at least they're there. You know what I mean? I also think it's natural to have, like, insecurities.
I think so, too.
I think it's natural.
I think that you need a couple.
Yeah.
Because I still have insecurities.
Me too.
I 100% have insecurities.
See, I kind of disagree. Insecurities aren't natural.
Do you think that you need them?
Do
you have any as of now?
I'd say that there's some insecurities that can improve your life in certain ways because they can create drive where drive might not already be there. But I feel like no insecurity is natural. Every insecurity you have in life comes from some part of your life, whether it be earlier than you can remember, so between the ages of 1 and 3-ish to 4-ish, or whether it become from later on in your life and you just haven't acknowledged it or thought of it. Every single insecurity is not natural. All of it is built off of something that you've been through.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you have gone through if life has gone perfectly for you in every single sense, you have amazing genetics, you're not going to be insecure. And you can see that. There's a lot of people that don't. There's a lot of people that don't have lots of insecurities. They're very confident in themselves.
They might. Some of those insecurities though might just not be vocalized. They might be
they're not there.
That's also true.
It might be something smaller, like you were saying though. Maybe if they're physical, they look good physically or something like that. Maybe they're a sad.
Like you never know what someone's going through.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe they got a little ween.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That's
There's
unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's an insecurity.
How are we supposed to know?
That's an insecurity that society puts on men.
Dude, maybe he has a weird mole on his back though.
Our apologies, guys. We're back. The battery died. You know, things happen. Sometimes your podcasts go a little bit longer than we expect. Sometimes the battery's a little low. But we're going to try to wrap it up. Before we died, we were talking about the connection between our insecurities and our need for attention. So let's continue along those lines. And you said you had one more question?
I did have a question.
Okay, so let's do your question, and then let's wrap it up with the connections in between those two at the end after your question.
So this is kind of like a little bit, it basically is an insecurity or can be an insecurity. But I think that it might not be one that sticks all the way throughout for everybody, but I feel like every male feels this one time in their life. I wanted to ask you guys, have you guys ever felt like not man enough? And let's just talk about that in general. I don't want to go on this thing of saying how men have such huge roles because I respect women a lot and everything that they do and everything that they're like not necessarily responsible for, but most of the time what they do in a relationship. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to talk about like when was the time you guys didn't feel man enough? It could be with another man or for a female. Like what was that?
I'd say for me, it would probably be like not working hard enough.
Damn, man, I fucking like that.
Yeah.
Like not working hard enough in what sense?
Like I'd be in situations where even like back home, like when I went back home, everyone's always working construction, working on things, right? So they'd ask to come help. Bro, I got like 2-3 hours in me, bro. I'm telling you, I'm dead tired. My back hurts. Everything hurts, right? They're like, what's wrong with you, bro? You can't work? You know what I mean? They get upset.
So it's like your inability to push through, I guess?
Yeah, I just don't like it. I don't like working that long. I don't like work. Like, I'm going to half-ass it if I don't like it. You know what I'm saying?
You don't like physically working that long.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
I could do it, but I'm not going to like it.
So,
it's
like,
going to be half-assed.
In your head, there's a standard of, like, how, I guess, physically hard a man should be working?
Yeah, like the standard, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they could probably go 8 hours, you know what I mean? Every day, 7 days.
And they're known as a man that's providing for their family.
Yeah. I could do it if I was dying, you know what I mean? I'm not going to do it if you tell me to do it tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I understand.
You could do it if your back was against the wall, but not like if you had a choice.
If I had a choice, would not do it.
Damn.
I'd say that was for me.
So that would be like your only instance?
Yep.
Damn.
See,
Jackson, you got one? I got two.
I honestly, I don't even know what that, like, when you say when you don't feel man enough, I don't, that doesn't make sense in my
Yeah,
head.
it
I
makes
don't
stomach.
know. I don't know what emotion that's connected to. I've never,
You never felt like you weren't enough?
no.
No?
Enough in what sense?
Like for somebody?
No.
No?
No. Not, at least,
Well,
not.
necessarily, or what about for yourself? Because I think that's a big one for me. I'm battling with myself all the time. That was mine.
Yeah, that'd be
I
a good
feel
one too.
Like you were saying, when like working hard and stuff, I feel like sometimes, even if I did 3 hours of editing that day, like we said, I'm gonna be like, I should have done more.
See,
I
for,
didn't edit enough. I didn't do this enough. I didn't go to the gym enough. I didn't eat healthy.
Yeah.
see, for
Well, for
myself,
myself.
like, I don't know if I'd ever say, sometimes I can say that sometimes I've maybe been disappointed in if I made a goal and I didn't achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, okay, I didn't achieve that goal,
But that doesn't really necessarily mean you're not man enough.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I've never physically had an instance where I thought, oh, I'm not being a man. 'Cause like, I don't really look at genders. I look at humans. So like,
Okay.
for instance, like, you haven't been a good enough person.
That's okay. I
For
understand.
instance, like, it's not that you haven't been a good enough man or you haven't been a good enough woman. It's just a person.
But that was a really
you're
big thing.
human.
That's a really big thing. Like
Mhm.
even nowadays or even back in the day, you know what
See,
I mean?
like, I would say back in the day it was big because being a man back in the day, you had way more responsibilities.
Yeah, a lot more.
And I don't want to diminish women. I'm not here to say that women didn't have a lot of responsibility, because they did. They just had a different form of responsibility that wasn't necessarily as high on the totem pole as a man's responsibility. See, a man, you're responsible for taking care of your family, for feeding your family, for giving them house,
Fighting,
home, you are
everything.
responsible for the hardest tasks in society. Because men, we are built for the hardest tasks in society. And women, they're built more for nurturing, more for taking care of the family, in the sense of making sure the household's being run in a proper way, making sure that all the emotions are being met.
But what if there is no father figure there? I think a woman can still take care of it.
Yeah,
I think
they
that
can.
This is what I was gonna say. I think that like back in the day, or even nowadays, I feel like a man provides a house and then a woman provides a home.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
woman provides the emotional sense of the relationship.
Keeps
A
the
man
household
provides the
together.
physical sense of the relationship.
Because
You know what I'm saying?
we see single fathers all the time, and you
Mhm.
go like the house.
The emotional side of it's not there.
It's not there.
No.
The
but they
physical
do-
side is there. They're providing for the family.
Exactly.
The family's there, but emotionally, you never know what's going on.
Yeah, he's got food and.
And in
the house,
saying
all
that, a lot of the other side, if it's just a woman in the household, sometimes there's too much emotion there.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes there isn't enough of that raw masculinity.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
100%.
So obviously it's a balance beam, and everybody, you know, you guys all do it your own way, and I respect every single parent. Like I said, I don't distinguish between genders. You're a person, and if you're a single parent, that's tough, no matter which gender you are. So respect to you, seriously.
You respect every single parent?
I respect every single parent that at least tries to do the best for their
I say at
family.
least tries, because there's a lot that don't.
There is a lot that don't. You're
Yeah.
right, and
And that just leave them.
there's a lot of parents that don't want to be parents. There's a lot of parents that, through some way or another, whether it be through their insecurities or through their certain needs for attention, they got themselves in the wrong place and in the wrong circumstances, and they want the easy way out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they want the easy way out, regardless of which gender you are. I mean, obviously, it affects women a lot more than men, because men have an easier way in the sense that they don't have to birth the child.
Yeah.
So the connection there isn't as emotional or physical. It's a lot easier for a man to not be involved in his child's life than it is for a woman.
Yeah.
Because for a woman, it is more emotional having a child. You really do have more of a connection with your child if you're a woman. Yeah, I believe, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, men have connections with their children, but having somebody grow inside you, you know, it's
Yeah.
just different. It's not the same. You can't relate
I
it to the
seen
same.
this Calvin Klein cover. They got a lot of backlash. It was a transgender. Which one would it be? Because the person got pregnant and it was a male.
Oh, he was a female and turned into a male.
Yeah, because there was like a
Yeah.
thing. Because I'm pretty sure he had titties. Now he has no titties.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was like a mark, a scar.
I think I've seen that. He was a female who converted, but somewhere along the line of conversion, it wasn't full, and he ended up getting pregnant with his wife.
Yeah, and now the guy is pregnant, and the girl's on his back, like taking the cover shoot. I'm like, what the hell? It looks so weird. And they were getting a lot of backlash.
Yeah. The male got pregnant.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I've seen that story.
and I've never seen that. I've never heard of that.
I don't know how it. Don't ask me how it happened, but it was a female who turned into a male, and then somewhere along the line, he got a wife, and then somehow he got pregnant.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened. Don't ask me. Maybe it was intentional. Who knows?
Is that weird?
Don't ask me. But yeah, I've seen that. I have seen that. Anyways, let's get back to the topic on hand.
I've never heard of them.
With the not being man enough, I agree with what you're saying. I feel like
what's yours?
I compare myself with, first of all, not being like a good enough person. You know what I mean? Whether to you guys, to Brianna, I always want to be the best version of myself and conquer. Like I was saying before, I have all these crazy dreams and stuff, and I always want to conquer that. But if we're talking about straight man, I feel like that would go down to the relationship aspect more for me. There's times where I feel like I'm maybe not feeling Brianna's needs, maybe whether it be not to get too personal, but either like sexual or
physical, just in general.
Yeah, some also like not meeting her love languages. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because like I explained in a couple other podcasts, we have different love languages, and it was very hard for me to accept that acts of service and like gifts are her love language. And I'm like, why do you need a gift? You know what I mean? And it doesn't necessarily mean money, but yeah, I had a really hard time grasping.
Like you giving her gifts, or her giving gifts to others is a love language for her.
She likes receiving gifts. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be something crazy, but maybe
could be like a flowers
or a homemade card,
or like a coffee or a Starbucks when she didn't ask. You know, the little things like that.
Oh yeah, even a little note. It doesn't have to be like a gift. Like, here, I have bought you something, but here's something physical for you.
I will say this: the saying "you're not man enough" is a very toxic masculinity thing that society has put onto men. I don't think it should ever be "you're not being man enough." I think it should be that you're not being a good enough person.
100%. I was gonna say, I want to try and embrace not being man enough.
Yeah, in some senses.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I feel like there's a lot of insecurities that come with not being man enough, but there's also a lot of insecurities that come with being too feminine. And I feel like, obviously, as a person, you have estrogen, you have testosterone in you. You have both. You don't just have one for a reason. There's certain things that come with being a little bit feminine, like emotions. If you're too much of a man, sometimes that means you block out a lot of emotions. You don't talk about emotions, and bottling up your emotions is not good.
No, it's not.
You know what I'm saying? So the feminine side of you, the estrogen side of you, needs to talk about those emotions, needs to make those emotions known. And I feel like a lot of men don't, because they want to be manly. They think that if they embrace that emotional side, they're not being man enough.
100%. I had a hard time with that. Communicating when I was like sad and depressed to Brianna.
Yep. And that creates that, like we said, that is a big insecurity for a lot of people. And on the flip side, there's a saying that could be said to be not being woman enough, like not being enough of a woman. We put a lot of stereotypes on women these days, like the fact that society thinks women need to be hairless.
Hell
like, hair is not masculine. Hair is human. If you want to have hair on your body, doesn't matter what gender you are, you should be allowed to.
100%.
And in today's society, women are looked at masculine if they have hair on themselves.
100%.
So that
Brianna says that all the time, how sometimes she doesn't feel like she's enough. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
She's asking me, hey, am I doing enough?
She's not. She feels like she's not feminine enough, and that's that's a weird thing that us humans do to each other, because there's no need for that. There's no need for that saying to be there.
No, but society will always have it there.
Yep, it will.
Always will.
Crazy.
And that's
it is crazy.
It's unfortunate that we can't control that, because that's a majority rules type of thing.
100%.
So today's podcast, we talked about the need for attention and how that can relate to insecurities, and how certain insecurities can be developed from authority figures, and how those insecurities can in turn create a need for attention, right? So let's just wrap it up by what kind of things do you guys think you could do to not per se stop your need for attention or get rid of every single insecurity in your life, but to more so understand those needs for attention and those insecurities and how they play off of each other. So like what kind of things are you guys doing right now to kind of live with those per se?
For me, a big one is just doing stuff for myself. Like, as long as I'm one with myself, I feel like I'm able to counteract those thoughts, like, you know what I mean, at a pretty good pace. Obviously, the negative thoughts, and just, like you said, did I not do enough? Did I miss the gym? Did I lose weight? I've been eating unhealthy. Am I losing any type of, like, I guess, like, fitness or whatever the case? Or not boxing? Do I still have hands? You know what I mean? Like, all that kind of stuff pops into my head. But as long as I'm one with myself and I just continue to, work out and meditate and do the stuff that I love, like boxing and all that kind of stuff, that's where I really get one with myself, and I realize that like I'm doing stuff for the right reason. And it kind of sounds like that's a little bit of an insecurity, like I box because I think I'm gonna lose hands, or I'm going to the gym because I think I'm getting skinny, or because I think I'm getting fat, or whatever the damn case. But I feel like when I'm working hard and doing physical things like that, or even a meditation, which is super hard, I'll say it's super hard physically for me. Like, it's definitely hard mentally, but it's hella hard physically as well. But that really helps me, like, counteract my negative thoughts. It's just hard physical work. So as long as I do that, like, I always call like an hour activity every day, I'll be good.
And then would you say that helps you with, like, your need for attention, I guess?
Yeah.
Or does that only help with, like, the insecurity side of that?
Man, Tyson don't need no attention. What do you mean? He only needs a little bit.
No, it's true, but I think that, like you were saying with the whole gym and stuff like that, I forgot to say that, but that kind of wraps into giving myself attention.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. That kind of gives yourself attention.
So it's like self-attention.
Yeah.
That's kind of fulfills the need a little bit.
100%.
Yeah.
If I give myself enough attention, then I'm not gonna need it from much other people.
Yeah.
Like, obviously,
Okay,
I want
like
it from
that.
a loved one and stuff, but you know what I'm trying to say?
I like that.
I do.
I can actually that would
I
say
can relate to
that's
that.
how I get my attention.
Yeah.
I don't get attention from other people. I
Gotta
give
give
myself attention.
Yeah, doing your own bike ride. That
So-
gives yourself attention. You know what I'm saying?
In saying that, what are things that you would do to kind of combat your insecurities, or maybe fulfill extra needs of attention that you might not be getting? Like, say your stream isn't doing as well that day.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you do to kind of give yourself a little bit more fulfillment in that department of the attention?
That's hard.
Yeah, what are the thoughts like in a day like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I'd say, like, when the stream is not doing good, it's hard to, like, bring back, like, that's where you have to be mentally freaking strong, because that's where the hard part is, because it's like, damn, does anyone even want to watch this? What are you doing wrong? You know what I mean?
All the insecurities
All
start popping
they all
up.
popping up. Might not giving enough content. This, that. But at the same time, when you stream, you don't want to be, like, fake. You know what I mean? You want to just be you. And if no one wants to, if people are going to come for you, they're going to come for the gameplay, obviously. But if you actually make a connection with your supporters or whatever, they're going to come for you. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, like, you can't expect them to be there all the time. You know, they have an outside life also. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard. But I'd say for me, to make it better for my insecurities, or like myself, like for a need of attention or whatever, would probably just keep like doing what I'm doing right now.
So
you know what I
just
mean?
like the pursuit of consistency combats the
I
insecurities.
feel like that's my best one. It's just being consistent.
And so
You know what I
would you
mean?
say that also helps your need for attention, like just staying consistent will, I guess, necessarily be fulfilling your attention to your goals?
Yeah,
So
like if I really needed attention, bro, like I'll go get it. You know what I mean? It's not hard. I'm sure all of us can do it. You know what I mean? We it's not hard for us to get attention. You know what I mean? We don't want it though. Like it's nothing crazy. What are you gonna do it? What are you gonna do it? You know what I
No,
mean?
I understand for sure.
Like,
I feel like the stream, when you're, like you said, when you're streaming and you're being yourself and not really caring too much, like, obviously you care if people come or not,
yeah,
but you're just doing it for yourself. It's almost like what me and Jackson were saying. You're
more
kinda
natural.
giving yourself attention.
Yeah, you're
too.
giving yourself attention because it's more natural. You know what I mean? You're doing it for yourself. You're just helping yourself out. I don't know, but there obviously is ways to make your content better, to grow more. You can't just be stuck right there. That's where it gets hard. You know what I mean? There's freaking 50,000 other people trying to stream. You know what I mean? Even for the podcast, there's 50,000 other podcasts. You know what I mean? So we gotta be unique in our own way. We gotta is hard. Like, you guys ever have that where it's like, damn, what if we're not doing enough? You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, we're just stuck. You know what I mean? We're just ball's not rolling.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
I feel like
It's
that
hard. Yeah.
The way I guess since you answered, I'll get into my view on that. The way I view that is the ball is never not rolling.
Yeah.
Life is always rolling.
It could be always rolling.
It's always rolling. It never stops. It might be going slower, even to the point where it might not look like it's moving at all. But life is always moving. That ball is always rolling. It's just how fast is it rolling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And that's how I get past that, because it's like, yeah, right now it might not be rolling. Next year it might not be rolling. Year after it might not be rolling. But you don't know where that hill is.
And that's what I was going to say is I don't want to miss a day. Because what if that day that you miss could have been the day that you pop off?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That hill.
That hill.
Could have been the hill.
And that's why I just want to keep going. And that's where my consistency comes with. Is just
Yeah.
keep fucking going. You know what I mean?
No, 100%, man.
Don't
I like
stop.
that.
See,
I like that.
for myself, the way that I say I combat the insecurities and like combat the need for attention is just to stay grounded. Just realize that
Where your path is, where your angle is.
and where your path is, but also just where your feet are.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't look at their feet.
Mhm.
They're too worried
Like
about the path. They're too worried about where they're going. They're not worried about where they are.
And I like that. It's
That
like
was a
fall
big one.
forward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to fall, fucking do it forward. Don't go
Mhm.
back.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
I
fall
like that,
back. You
man.
know what I mean?
No, I like that a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah, just to stay grounded and realize where you came from.
Yeah.
Like,
Always
if
be
we-
humble.
If we look at our beginning podcasts and we look at the content that we first started making and we look at the content that we're making now, we're doing way better.
It's a lot
We
of
said
growth.
this. All right, folks. This is 18 plus smoking tree.
There's already smoke in the air, bro. There's already a blunt on
That's
the
what
table.
we said.
You know
This
what I'm
is
saying?
18. Skip this.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
if
we
you're not
said.
18, please go to the part where we're
Yeah.
not smoking.
Yeah.
Well, like I said,
So-
yeah, you got to keep yourself grounded like that. Like, just look at the progress. In every single day of your life, the ball's always rolling, and you're always getting a little bit of progress. You're always getting a little bit of knowledge. And obviously that knowledge might not seem relevant to you at that time. And who knows? Maybe this podcast doesn't work out for us. You know, there's always that part. But the linguistic skills that we gain from this, the self-examination skills we gain from this, the emotional vulnerability, the emotional experiences we gain from this will always be with us.
Yeah, all that ain't going nowhere.
You will always have that, and you always stack it. So who knows? Say 10 years down the road, and I'm not saying that any of us would be this job, but we could all very easily become commentators.
Yeah.
Very easily. Very easily. Or branch out into many different career paths.
100%.
Just
There's
from
gonna
the
be so
fact,
many options.
just from the fact that we've spent this last 2 years learning how to ask questions, learning how to take different points of view, learning how to be wrong, and also how to be right.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
a lot of everything.
that's how you combat your insecurities. You just realize you're always learning. And if you're not learning, you're not realizing what you're learning. You just got to take a look at your feet, look at your past, and then remind yourself of the goal.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know who said this, but somebody said that life's a perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like that. Like you were saying, the ball is always moving, and even if it seems like it's not moving, this happens all the time. I don't know, what do you call that when it's illusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So if the ball doesn't look like it's rolling, just change your perspective, and it
To
will
where
be
it is rolling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
what I'm
And
saying?
that kind of goes into what I said. Look at your feet.
100%.
Your feet are never in the same spot.
100%.
I'm not saying we're all freaking right or whatever, but you know, it's good to. I feel like our point of views are actually solid, man.
At least try.
At least try. You know what I mean?
Because all the stuff that we're saying, I'm not saying that I do this to a T. I'm trying to.
It's
do
not like we're
this.
gonna be happier or this is gonna do better, but I think it'll work. You know what I mean? It'll make you go the right direction. You know what I mean?
We're trying to practice what we preach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to do.
Yep.
And preaching it is helping us practice it, or myself.
Preaching is the only way. They
That's
say you learn through 3 different ways: writing, talking, and hearing.
Exactly.
And we're
what
doing 2 out of the 3.
Hell yeah.
So everybody
man.
learns differently.
I also want to say, like, tell us your guys' thoughts.
Yes, sir.
Also, and like what you guys think on that. For like seek attention or what was the other one?
Like what your insecurities would be.
Insecurities. Yeah, that's what it is.
And look back in your life. If
Yeah.
you know you have an insecurity, try to identify where that came from, like we did today.
Tell us some
Obvious-
stories. We'd love
yeah.
to hear.
We obviously didn't.
Yeah.
We realized that we didn't know where some of those insecurities come from.
Still don't.
Yep.
Facts.
So
Some can go, some can come.
On that note, we want you guys to have a great week, and we hope you
Onethird.
guys love this podcast. 1/3,
Episode
Like,
39.
share, subscribe.
Yeah.
Drop your comments. Let us know what your insecurities are. Let us know what you do to help those insecurities and how your need for attention relates to those. Okay, guys?
Next week, episode 40.
4-0.
4-0.
Episode every Friday, man. Thank you for joining.
1/3
We
out.
out.